Today's episode is brought to you by White Glove Car Wash. Man, it feels like we just never get a break. We go from salt and brine on the roads right into pollen season, and our car never seems to be as clean as we needed it to be. That's where White Glove steps in. They're offering unlimited car wash packages for as low as $20 a month. You can take your car in daily and make sure that it is shiny, squeaky clean like you always want it to be, and not have to worry about cleaning it yourself. And with the satisfaction guarantee, you will never have to worry about it being just right. With locations in Delaware, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, you are never too far from the glove. Family owned and operated for over 40 years. Go out and support small businesses this year and support your car by giving it the best car wash possible. Just ask your phone to take you to White Glove Car Wash and be taken to the nearest location to you, and let them give you the best car wash you have ever experienced.
Welcome to Talkin 215, your go-to podcast for everything you need to know about Philly sports. Whether you bleed green, trust the process, fly with the Flyers, or fight with the Fightins, this is the place where we break down Broad Street. Jake, Shawn, and Joey deep dive into the heart of Philly sports culture, breaking down games, roster moves, and sharing the stories that make the 215 truly legendary. So grab a cheesesteak, settle in, and let's get to Talkin 215.
Hello, everyone, to this day's edition of Talkin 215. I will be your host today, Shawn. We have a full house this afternoon for this episode. Starting off, we got Jake in the top corner. What's up, Jake?
What's going on, Shawn?
Yo, we got PHLDawgs right up in the center here. Chris, what's happening?
What's going on, Shawn? What's going on, guys?
All right, we got the Doc in the top right for those tuning into the video. Dr. Joseph Mesa. Doc, what's going on?
Not much. Just feeling the love.
All right, last but not least, bottom corner, Coach. Coach, what's happening, baby?
What's up, boys? Happy to be here.
All right, so today's episode, we're going to be covering the Phillies first and foremost, and then we're going to wrap it up, I think, with a little bit of Birds. Of course, got to touch on them. But I'm going to be starting off this episode with a happy belated birthday to your host with the most, Jakey. Jake turned the big 3-0 over the weekend. Jake,
Dirty 30. I'll tell you, nothing made me feel 30 like the 3-day hangover after the party. I mean, usually, like, I'll give myself an IV, being a paramedic and everything. I ran out of supplies, of course. Wasn't expecting the party, as it was a surprise party. And then day after, I was like, all right, this was to be expected. I feel like shit, and this is what I figured. And then Sunday came, and I was like, I still don't feel great. And then Monday came, and I was like, I'm almost there. Fellas, is this 30?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, nice. Sick.
At least in my experience, yeah. I mean, a nice 3-day hangover is like that's a good sight. Like that's a good sighting. That's a good
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a
Shawn's disagreeing.
I don't know. I haven't felt.
Shawn drinks 2 beers.
I haven't binge drank since I was like under 21. I don't think I've ever binge drunk legally. Like I got all that out of the way, and as soon as it was legal, I was like, yeah, I'll do other stuff that's illegal, I guess now.
Nice. We are recording, just FYI.
Yeah.
That's no big deal.
No, but speaking of which, I wanted to start off today's episode with something just a little bit different, as it was Jake's birthday. Guys, real quick, I don't want to be too long with this, but I do have a question for you. As a child, what was your favorite birthday party growing up?
That's a good one. I mean, I'm going to jump in real quick. For those that know me very well, I have no memory prior to the age of 12. So I've got a smaller window, because I feel like 12 to 16 is really the party. Like after 16, it's no longer really birthday party time. You know what I mean? You're a little too old for that, I guess.
After 12 is kind of pushing it. I'm sure every family's.
Like 12 was like the last one, and then you have your big one on your sweet 16.
Well, my dad was like, "We're going to the strip club, right?" And I'm like, "I don't even."
That's like hop up in the chair. For those that don't know, his dad is a tremendous tattoo artist. At 12, he was like, "Hop in the chair, bud."
Yeah, we're putting a chick with some big honkers on your chest, like
exactly. So 16 was cool. We did like a bunch of friends, and my family organized like a big scavenger hunt all around. So we like broke up into teams and had to go all around Wilmington and do a bunch of different scavenger hunts. And it ended at this gym they rented out that had, the inflatable jousting arena and like different, that floor hockey setup with goals and also it was fun.
Cool. Chris, what was your best birthday party as a kid?
Tough. I don't even remember. I don't have a huge recollection of my birthday parties. I know we spent one at like a bowling alley way back when. That was a lot of fun, I guess. I can tell you in recent memory, I spent one of my birthdays during our honeymoon in St. Lucia, but I don't know if that really answers your question. So I wasn't a kid, obviously. So, but it was a good time because I was in St. Lucia.
All right, Doc, going back a little ways now.
Hey, yeah, I can't remember my 30s. So, but I will say, I'm a Halloween baby. So every year I get kind of washed in the sauce. So every one was special. Everybody was up to party. So, but basically we just went out and trick or treated. The parties got better in college than when I was a kid, for sure.
All right, Coach.
I don't know which one was the best, but the most memorable was either 15 or 16. My parents surprised me up at, believe it or not, BW3s at the time to go watch the Eagles because we live in Florida. So it was kind of a big deal. You couldn't watch the game on TV back then. And I go there and all my classmates and all my friends that I play sports with, everybody's there. Happy birthday. Rented out a huge section of BW3s like it's a club, right? And all I remembered was just being focused on the Eagles game that they put in the corner for us. And I'll never forget for the life of me, while everyone was happy, cake, opening presents, I was watching prime Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison just beat the absolute crap out of the Eagles. And I'll never forget that part. I can't remember if it was 15 or 16. I don't even know how old I was. I was just so mad while everyone else was happy at my birthday. So that's kind of like I've been a psycho for Philly sports for a long time.
BW3s, Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not hip.
I don't know if it's called that everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not hip, I guess.
I'm a B-dubs.
Yeah, B-dubs.
Yeah. I guess that's a little bit further north, you would call it that. When I was 5, I had a guy come over the house that had a bunch of different animals, right? And I could have swore it was Jack Hanna in the flesh. I was just 4 the day before, guys. Bear with me here, right? He whipped out one of those Burmese pythons, like the albino ones that are 30 feet long. 5-year-old me wanted to be swallowed by that damn snake. I wanted to go inside of it. I've been living off that high ever since. It's been all downhill every single day. So. But Jake, I hope your birthday party ended up great. I hope you had a great time. A little sidebar. We held a surprise party for him. I didn't hold it, but I was part of it. And I decided to hide behind the front door when he entered. Swung the door open. I am now covered, and I don't know how to say surprise happy birthday because the door is now in my face and I'm in the corner. So I didn't actually say happy birthday to him until a little bit later. So there's no video of me being happy and then giving greetings and salutations or anything. So anyways, we've got a baseball season starting tomorrow. By the time everybody at home is listening to this, it will officially be baseball season. So we're going to get a quick little rundown. I know we got a lot of us on here today, but we're going to get some thoughts on how optimistic or pessimistic we are heading into the season, give our general thoughts on the team, a couple different little questions we've got heading into it. First off, guys, just start. Scale of 1 to 10, how excited are we about this Phillies team?
7.9.
7.9. Chris, go.
I was going to go rookie score 8.
8?
I don't got
Howard, Coach.
Yeah, I'll go 8 as well. Pretty up there.
All right, Doc.
I'll go 7.8.
I knew it. Yeah, we're going Price is Right. We're Price is Right in it. We're Price is Right in it with that little get me in the middle.
Actual score 9.9. I was like, Coach, come on down. All right, so it sounds like a month ago we were a bit further in the dumps. I don't even know how much we've covered the Phillies on this podcast. We've been pretty down in the dumps. Dave Dumbrowski not really doing a damn thing, right? But now that it's getting a little warmer outside, now that we can kind of see that we can hear the baseballs hitting the mitts, right? We can hear the crack of the bat. I'm excited. I'm sitting there telling us with this starting rotation, we're gonna lose like 20 games all season. I'm like full bore, pedal to the metal. Let's go. Just so long as Taijuan Walker's not out here.
Scheduled loss.
Just a scheduled loss every 5th game. So, and Doc, I think we've touched on it a little bit before, but like, how long do we think, guys, as a whole, do we think that Ranger's going to be out and Taijuan is going to be pitching every 5th day?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough call. I mean, I think that his history is not promising, and I think this is going to be touch and go maybe for the rest of his career. I mean, I think he tries to ramp it up and he's got an injury. I don't think it's reliable to say 2 months and he's going to be 100%. I think that's very optimistic.
Doc, sticking with Ranger, is this something that if and when we see him move to the bullpen when Andrew Painter comes up, and again, that's just our speculation, that we could see possibly him not be this injury prone, as like you said, it's usually when he's ramping it up?
Yeah, I think if they control his pitches, and I think he could be a very effective reliever. I just think that being a starter in all the innings and all the throws, just it's a chronic injury. So the more you throw, the more likely you are to re-aggravate it.
Yeah, I think it's obviously frustrating as Philly fans, right, to see Ranger not be fully ready to start another season. But you traded for Luzardo, you got to be happy about that. Back there, obviously Taijuan's only going to be in there before Painter gets called up, and when Ranger's not healthy, whatever the case is. If you somehow put Ranger in the bullpen, whether it be the playoffs or the stretch run, whatever it is, that solidifies the bullpen a little more. But kind of like Shawn said, this rotation has the chance to be spectacular. I mean, you know what you're getting from Wheels and Nola. I mean, you got Ranger, you got Luzardo, then you're going to have Painter in there as well. You have a left-handed arsenal that can attack lefty bats when it comes playoff time to where you mix and match pitchers. I just think Rob Thomson has an arsenal. We're probably going to be very careful with it, and we're probably going to be frustrated, a little more cautious than we need to be, because I think the main goal here is get to the playoffs by any means, and then I dare you to compete with our staff. I really think that's how it's going to be.
Well, Coach, and you even didn't mention the Cy Young dark horse favorite in Christopher Sanchez.
I mean, I'm leaving that door open for Shawn. That's his boy. That's his.
How dare you? He's our boy by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a tweet today where it was like the combined Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez spring training. It was something like 30-something innings. I don't even know all the little minute ones, but it was 30-something innings with a 2.37 ERA. Like, I think all of us would take a season of 3 starters combining for a 2-something ERA. Obviously, the later you go in innings, the more that the second, third, fourth time through the order is when people are going to really figure it out and start, hitting off you. So it's a little bit of a skewed stat. But still, we're going to see 3 guys with the potential to go deep. My question for everybody, and Shawn, you're hosting, but I have to get this question out there, is are we concerned at all about odd year Nola?
Listen, I don't, just because of this pitching staff, because he doesn't need to be the guy. And I know Wheeler's been around long enough to where he hasn't had to be the absolute ace of this club. But I just think he's bookmarked by absolute studs, So I don't think the pressure is going to be there. It's not a contract year. He doesn't have to worry about getting paid, which might ultimately be a bad thing. But no, I mean, especially as pitchers get older. I mean, I think he's in his year 32 season right now. He's a vet. He's an experienced vet. There's not going to be too much of a swing from year to year like it was when he was trying to figure out this league.
Didn't you have one for Jake Elliott too, Jake?
Yeah, Jake Elliott's every even year he's bad. Every even year. Yeah, so that's why this year he wasn't great. But obviously, Super Bowl, great. When was the Super Bowl? Odd year. Yeah. Once the playoffs came, he missed 1 kick, and he was incredible in the Super Bowl. But that was 2025. I'm telling you, it's there. Like, I can't believe nobody touched on. Wow, once it was 25, Jake Elliott was incredible. We told you.
Well, in the snow game too, right? Yeah.
I mean, that was nuts. His performance in that game was incredible. Everybody getting the towels, beating the snow, trying to clear a spot for him to actually even walk.
I don't think I'd be too worried about Nola, honestly. And again, like, I'm piggybacking off of Shawn. He's coming with it today on this show. But I look at it like the right guard spot on the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, right? Like whether it be Sayamalu, Brandon Brooks, Cam Jurgens, Mekhi Becton, Tyler Steen. When you're on an offensive line with Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, those other guys, like it's almost impossible to be bad, right? Like it's almost impossible to be really, really bad. And when you look at this rotation, kind of like Shawn said, when you got all those other guys out there that arguably have a shot to be in talks for one of the best pitchers in the NL, we could have 2 or 3 guys in NL Cy Young running, right? Like we have that type of capability. If you want to go Wheeler, Sanchez, even Ranger was up there for a little bit. You never know what you're going to get from Nola if he's going to be, throwing out ace stuff with an ERA under 3. When you're in that pitching room, just like when you're in that O-line room, like you feed off each other. There's an energy. There's a competitive balance in there where you don't want to be the guy to let the others down in that staff, in that room. And I think with Nola not having the pressure to be the opening day starter, to be the ace, to be the guy with this many dogs around him, I think he's going to be a little more comfortable. I think he's going to be able to throw his pitches and just know, hey, we're deep back there. So I don't really need to go 8 strong today. I can give you 6 of my best stuff as opposed to 8 of my okay stuff.
Folks, that is positive coach here before the Philly season. Notice that we're talking pitching. You will hear a different tone when we bring up the bats shortly.
I mean, my biggest concern about all this starting pitching is the just long-term plans for Ranger, right? Because there was talks here and there. There's a little conversation every once in a while that would say, hey, listen, Ranger might not be on this team next year.
He won't be,
right?
Unfortunately.
And with this back injury, it's almost like the nail in the coffin where it's like, now it feels like Ranger's just pitching for his next ball club. Right. So, I mean, it's a little disappointing to see. It's a little sad. Right. I mean, we were huge Ranger guys this entire podcast, almost the last couple of years. And I'll be sad to see him go. We're getting way ahead of ourselves though. Now we are still going to keep it positive, guys. I want to know, aside from pitching, give me a breakout player for this year. Give me a guy that's going to ascend beyond expectations. Who do we think is going to be a pleasant surprise by the end of this season?
I honestly can't wait to hear Chris's point because look, hopefully Dan can find the video if he has it. He made a cut. So Dan, if you're, while you're editing this, hopefully you save the old one. But this time last year, Chris was spot on with all of his predictions. He's like, here's my hot take. Phils are winning the NL East. Here's my hot take. This guy's going to do this. And it was just like, wow, this guy nailed it. So, I'm just really
right twice a day. That's
you were right then. So it's hopefully it's this time of the year. But I'm mainly excited to hear Chris's. I'm prolonging this because I don't have one yet.
Is that me? I'm going to shoot from the hip then.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's see. I shot from the hip last time. The name that came to mind for some reason or another is Trea Turner, and I think the reason for that being is probably because our expectations are already super low, and I think he's what's that question, Jake? I see a questionable.
This
face.
Is such an interesting conversation, though, because when I proposed the question, Trea was one of the people that came to my mind because everybody just assumes the guy is just like a middling player. That's just
not everybody.
Like the expectation.
Not everybody.
I think
there's the segment that thinks this guy's making $27-30 million a year, whatever it ends up being. I think it's 27. Like the guy should be an absolute stud. And you take a look at last year's numbers and you're like, I don't know, man, for most
Did you see last year post-injury? He was on an astronomical tear. Post-injury, every at-bat was like a home run.
People were easy to forget. And I think it has a lot to do. Chris, I'm going to let you actually finish, but I think it has a lot to do. Nobody was prepared for this, all right? I'm giving you guys time. Start thinking. Nobody was prepared. Oh, my God. I totally lost my train of thought here.
Again, no.
I don't think you were prepared for this, Shawn.
I'm sorry. So our expectations have been all over the place because we don't really care about Trea Turner. He's not a guy that talks a lot. We don't know a single thing about his personality. He's like largely forgotten about until he goes on a slump, and then we talk about how much money he's being made. Like there's no bravado like a Bryce Harper. There's no drip like a Castellanos. There's no chubby boy swanging like like there is with Schwarber, right? Trea Turner will be completely and utterly forgotten about if he doesn't win a championship here, regardless of how much money he's making. And that is caused such a wide swing in expectations, I feel like. Chris, you can go back to your point now. I'm sorry.
I mean, can I just echo everything you said? I think it's an expectations thing. I think the contract that he came in at, I think the player he was prior to being here, there was a lot of expectations with him being, a Philly now. I think the whole standing ovation thing and, in the offseason, my Phillies content is coming through Twitter and our favorite radio station with 3 letters. And I feel like everything that I hear is low on Trea Turner. And I'm thinking this year, that player to watch out for me is going to be him, because I feel like those expectations, if I'm feeling the market right, are low. Jake, I think, disagrees. I think he's a big Trea guy, obviously, by his face, but that's going to be my guy, Trea Turner.
Well, that was my face to WIP.
Okay.
No, I like Trea. I like Trea a lot. I think I've not hidden the fact that I think he's been misused. I think he's been mismanaged with him not batting first. With him, I feel as though he needs to have the green light literally every single time. And if he maintains an 85% steal rate, which he's well above that, but obviously he's picking and choosing rather than just going every single time. But any time he's on any base with nobody in front of him, I want him stealing.
Yes.
I want him attempting it. I want him to attempt 300 steals this year. Like legit, I want every single time them doing it, because you saw what it did in the postseason 2 years ago when it was like, oh, they're pretty conservative in the regular season. This was Trea's first year at the Phillies. And then in the postseason, every single time, they even had Schwarber, anytime that catcher bobbled a ball, dropped a ball or anything, they were telling their guys, go. And I loved it. And they got out a couple of times, but way more often than not, they were moving guys around. They were actually playing the baseball that we love to see. I mean, I'm a huge just fan of small ball, fan of just the game within the game. And that's why I mean, obviously it's benefited the Phillies greatly, universal DH. But if I had my way, I'd get rid of DH entirely. I love having teams play around. Ooh, the pitcher's pitching a gem, but it's a 1-run game. We're down, and he's second in the order. Next guy, and now the first guy got on base. Like, what do we do here? Do we try to bunt him? Do we keep him in? Like, I loved that whole just, trying to figure out what to do within the game, just game plan and everything. And so for me, again, Shawn, I also lost my train of thought. I don't know what's in the air right now, but I'm just going to keep talking. Hopefully it catches me up on the back end. But look, Trea Turner needs to just be used a little bit better. Do I think Rob's going to really change his ways? No, he's been a very stubborn manager. He's been a successful manager. They're winning games, but he's extremely stubborn as the 3-4 years that he's been a manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. There's been very little actual change within game plans, within decision-making and everything. And when we've said this will be the 389th time on the podcast that you can judge a coach's level of education based on their ability to adapt. And this coaching staff has not shown that ability very much in the 4 years that they've been all together.
I mean, I tell you what, I think the fielding's been another big issue. You talk about adapting.
Yeah, and that's where I think I was going to bring that up. I think that's why a lot of people are down on Trea too, is because I don't think anybody knew he was actually this bad at shortstop.
It's a long contract. I would be really surprised and almost shocked to see him play out the life of this contract without moving over the third. He seems like he'd be much more adept at third. It's just I don't know what it is. I don't know if they thought that Bomer was a long-term player at the position or what, or they just said $27 million, you're playing shortstop. Like, that's what we paid you to do.
And Aiden Miller looked incredible defensively in spring training. It had a lot of people like, hey, now this might be your future shortstop here.
And when he's ready, I think that's kind of the jump off point where you say, Trea, listen, you're 31, you're 32, right? We still have 6 more years of this contract at that point, 7 more years, what have you, right? We're going to move you over to a position where I think you can last a little bit longer, and I think you're going to be a little bit better at.
Yeah. Doc, who you got as your breakout candidate this year?
You guys took mine. No, I'm just I don't know. I mean, it's not necessarily a breakout, but somebody I think needs to improve is Bryson Stott at the plate. I mean, we need to see definite leap forward with him. I mean, I don't know that I'm necessarily expecting it, but I kind of want to see that happen. That's a real hole in our lineup, and I think he definitely has to step up his game behind the plate. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and hopefully it comes to fruition.
Yeah. Oh, I'm betting big, and like quite literally betting big on Bryson Stott this year. I'm putting money on a number of different things for him because I think you can cash in on some really low lines for season expectations, and I expect him to be fully healthy, playing 150 plus games. And hopefully, again, we're talking about a stubborn coaching staff. For whatever reason, they take him out against lefties when for a vast majority of his career, he's as good, if not better, against left-handed pitching. Obviously, a smaller sample size. There's a lot more righties and righty starters than lefties. But I have no idea why we continually take Bryson Stott out of the lineup against lefties. Hopefully, this is a year that we don't.
Coach, what do you got?
My breakout player is going to be the new guy, Max Kepler.
Yeah.
I really think that he is the forgotten Philly in this entire, Phillies talk leading up to the season. This is a guy, and I'm going to keep comparing everything to the Eagles because I'm weird. This is a guy kind of like a Zach Bond signing where you don't think anything of it at the time. You're like, okay, he was a pretty good player with his other team, anything like that. But you get him in the right fit with the right lineup where he could hit behind some monsters, and you're going to see the Max Kepler that was in MVP talks in Minnesota, that was an all-star in Minnesota, that when healthy showed that he brings a strong and valuable bat to the team. I like what I saw from him this spring training, to be honest with you. The swing looks good. It looks level. It looks clean. He says he's comfortable. He's having a good time with the guys. He feels good. A lot of times it takes someone like that. And if you look at what the Phillies have had in left field, we tried Austin Hayes, and then we would platoon with Marshy. But when you put Marshy there, that means Rojas is in center. So you kind of got 2 weak bats in your outfield already. This is the guy that's going to be playing the majority of time in left field. They already said Marshy's going to be your everyday center fielder, except they're going to mix it up with Rojas off the bench for defensive stuff, et cetera. So I think Kepler's going to get a ton of opportunities with fish on the pond, right? There's going to be guys on base in front of him, and he has a chance, no matter where he bats in this lineup, to be a big RBI guy. We're not talking like 40, 50 homers, but we're talking about a guy that's going to come in and have first and third with 2 outs, second with 1 out.
39 homers.
Yeah. I mean, I just think he's in a situation where he doesn't have to be the guy, like we talked about with Nola, where he has studs around him, and it's just like, hey, Max, get a hit when it's your time. And I think he's going to do that.
I think we really slept on that signing, right? You brought up Austin Hayes, where a lot of this fan base is just going, it might just be another Austin Hayes. I tell you what, it just seemed at the time a lot like another Whit Merrifield, just in the outfield, right? It's a guy that had played well, that's kind of past that now. But Whit's 36, Kepler's, I think, 32 this season, so he's not necessarily over the hill. He's not nearly as
dry in baseball years.
Exactly. Yeah, so this could end up being a hell of a lot better of a signing than we all kind of gave him credit for, right? Yeah. But my breakout pick is a guy that you kind of alluded to on that last one, man. We got a guy that Thomson said, "Listen, man, we're going to start you out in center every single day. All right, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, I don't care if you can't hit lefties. You're going to hit lefties. Okay, you're going to get yours. All right. I'm not going to be taking you out because we're playing against the lefty. Damn it. All right. All right. So I think that confidence and being just another year better in the league. I got Marshy, man. This was a kid that last year up through the end of May, I think his OPS was in the mid-8s, high 8s. Yeah. Like he was hitting the leather off the ball the first 2 months of the season last year. And then, the average came back down to the average, but I think he's got a chance with that newborn confidence that he knows he's the guy in center that could do some damage and could be a fantastic piece to have as an everyday player on this team.
My guy, I talked a lot, but I didn't really give mine yet. My guy, I'm going to go a little bit against the grain because I love all of your guys' picks for all the reasons you said it. But I got Jose Alvarado having a Matt Strom, Jeff Hoffman type year. We're heading into the All-Star break. He's got a 1 or like between a 0.8 and a 1.4 ERA, just lighting guys up. I got Jose Alvarado being one of just the absolute studs in the bullpen, going back to the old strike one, strike two, good luck days of Jose Alvarado.
Is he back closer right now?
He's got to be.
Alvarado is. I mean, until proven otherwise.
He's mine. He's mine.
He's your okay. That's fine.
Might not be Rob's, but he's mine. And please have him come out to Gasolina or some kind of hype song. Like we've talked for years, we need some kind of sweet closer reliever entrance.
Let me ask you guys, do you guys, well, I guess the results are going to answer this question, but slim down Alvarado, or do we miss big boy Alvarado? You
took the words out of my mouth, man, because pitcher is the one position where I'm like, when he was like, I feel like a fat boy, I'm like, and you better keep feeling like a fat boy. All right. You got some
I'm a grizzly bear.
But I don't know. Early results are in, man. He's looking good at spring training. It's spring training.
0 runs allowed.
No velocity off the fastball whatsoever.
Which is crazy. That must have just been bad weight. Like he must have just been eating just the strawberry, the Shirley Temples with Joel, you know.
No, I'm hyped for our boy Jose, and I don't mind a little slim down. He went from grizzly bear to a black bear, brown bear. That's just a smaller bear, not his complexion, folks. Calm down. Jeez, calm down, everybody. Golly. Chris, I saw it. You were like, oh, yeah. Chris, I need your Photoshop skills. Put him on a brown bear.
All right,
not a Build-A-Bear.
Brown bear. Got it.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Delaware Orthopedic Specialists. Spring has officially sprung, and you know what that means. All the weekend warriors dusting off their gear and trying way too hard to relive the glory days, and you know what's going to happen. Hip, ankle, foot, leg, knee, shoulder, injuries. Where else should you go other than Delaware Orthopedic Specialists? I don't know. DOS has specialists trained in each and every part of the body, so you're getting a provider specifically assigned to that part of the body. Why would you trust anyone other than a specialist? The only fellowship-trained surgery center in the state of Delaware makes it a no-brainer. Head on over to delortho.com or give them a call at 302-655-9494. I'm telling you, my family's gone there. My friends have gone there. Check out their Google reviews. They are phenomenal. DOS. Don't trust anyone other than a specialist.
All right, guys, other side of the coin, man. Who is going to fall off a cliff this year? Who is going to finally start to descend? We got I think we have the third oldest team in the NL right now. The Dodgers are old. The Mets are ancient.
The Dodgers are really old.
The Dodgers are really damn good, though. So
I don't think it
matter in their case.
They have the best 33-year-old team in baseball. They have the best team in baseball, and they happen to be 33.
Well, you keep getting these Japanese pitchers that don't come over till they're 29, 30. Like they're just starting their career. So, but who do you think on this team is going to start that decline and it's going to continue? There's a couple to pick from here, guys. I'm looking to know what you think. Coach, I'm going to start off with you.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah, why would you start off with me? Can I say Taijuan Walker? No, I'm kidding.
Cliff, he is already on the ground just with the silhouette like Acme style. This is Wile E. Coyote. Just
my answer, honestly, I don't know if I'm going to deem it as falling off a cliff, but definitely regressing, and I think we've seen it a little bit. I'm going to go JT.
Son of a bitch.
Everybody's.
Yeah, that's every single one of our answers.
Is he going to be terrible this year?
No, he's going to be really, really not great.
It's funny because like if you look at like what's trending on Twitter sometimes, right? You'll see all these sports stuff, and BCIB used to trend on Twitter. Best catcher in baseball, best catcher in baseball. Then all of a sudden it was like, hey, is anybody using that hashtag anymore? Like, is anybody hello? And then it was like, all right, runner's going, he's hosed. Oh, wait, he's safe. Oh, another guy stole on JT. Like, I thought like that was the thing. Like, don't
the Phillies account is the only one using that after he throws people out 10% of the time. When he gets a guy out, they're like, there he is.
Well, his pop time is still fine. His arm strength is a little bit worse. His framing is dreadful.
That's it, Sean. That's a great point. His framing sometimes where it almost looks like a strike three, but he's already getting ready to throw it back to the pitcher. And you're like, brother, hold that thing. Hold that thing there for a second. And I think you saw Dumbrowski say, hey, Marchand is the backup catcher. Stubby, go down to the Iron Pigs. That wasn't so much of an indication to Stubbs as maybe it was to JT as, hey, look, if you're not going to be playing as much and you're not going to be the JT of old, we need a guy that can come in here and who does have a cannon and a hose and that you cannot run on, who has come up big with some clutch hits and is like a silent assassin. And I really like Marchand. So if I had to pick somebody, long answer short, it's JT.
Best hose on the team.
Yeah, tight enough pants to tell us.
Shout out Fanatics. Doc, JT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Chris?
I'll go JT. That seems to be the trend here.
No, and Coach, you weren't able to join when Shawn and I met with our annual podcast with Ben Silver, but we talked a lot about his framing. And he's like, look, like whether you're catching 3,000 innings or not and all, like the non-framing, it just comes down to just laziness. Like it's not like you don't lose that with age. It's just stubbornness and laziness.
I wonder if the knee was a little bit worse than we thought. Because if he's like kind of leaning on one side versus the other, he might be like losing his balance on something.
Trying to frame and falls over.
It's like literally, you talk about getting old, man. There's some old man shit happening behind home plate now.
Well, we've got somebody to ask about that. Doc, would a bum knee, would injuries prevent somebody to hold that frame just a step longer? I again, it's been so long since I've seen a Phillies game, and I didn't watch a ton of spring training as it was a busy time of the year for me. But I forget, does he do the 2 feet on the ground kind of old grasshopper stance, or does he do that new age one leg out to where it would be less strain on the knees or anything? But either way, Doc, would an injury prevent somebody from framing the ball very well?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have problems, if you have a history of knee trouble, one of the things to go quickly, especially in athletes, is your kneecap. And if that thing's off center, it's going to be painful. And I tell patients, that's how we diagnose it. Does it hurt when you squat? And when they say yes, we know it. And if they have a history of this, it's going to hurt to be in that position. Traditional is obviously worse. I can't say, I thought he was traditional, but I don't know recently. I haven't seen if he's changed that. But if he changed that, he might as well just say, yeah, my knees are really screaming at me. And that's the reason you want to get out of that position as quickly as possible. And I think that maybe part of it, it hurts to get down there. And that's why catchers don't have the longevity. It is a very demanding, physically demanding position. And I think, you can only do so many times. Even if you really don't have an injury, it does wear down on you just squatting that all day long.
I could be wrong, but I think he does it when there's a runner on base versus if there's nobody on base, he goes back to traditional. If there's somebody on like first, he'll do the open up one knee stance so you can kind of.
Yeah, he doesn't do like the leg out weird like one that some of these guys do, but it looks like exactly what Coach said. He does traditional, and then he does this one knee on the ground, one leg up.
Yeah. Well, again, if he's having issues with his knee, it's going to be a lot easier for him to get up from that position. And it does. I mean, you guys aren't old, but wait, it's coming, and you're going to feel it every time you bend over. You're going to feel it.
And well, Doc, I believe Bryce Harper started off as a catcher, and they said, "Hey, man, for your longevity, we need to switch you positions. Your bat is too good to play catcher." So they did the outfield thing and DH and all that stuff. So,
and listen, I only brought it up because in the gym, I did something to my knee, and for the next couple of weeks, every time I squatted down, like in a catcher stance, I had to lean almost completely, shift to one side versus the other. And me and JT are like 7 weeks apart. Like we're almost the same age. So he's taking just as long to heal from this as I am, or give or take just a little bit, maybe even a little bit faster than me. But, and I thought, dude, this is like, if I had to take, 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, like obviously he's a little more adept to it at this point. But I think I would have just an issue just being slightly off balance to where maybe that's affecting his framing.
Yeah, I mean, it's in our DNA to avoid pain. So if it hurts, you're going to figure out a way to try to make it not hurt. And that could be changing your position. That could be getting out, not framing as long as you should. And it's just a way to kind of avoid that. This is a long, long season with a lot of games, a lot of innings. So he may be subtly, and he may not even be aware that he's doing it. It just may be subconsciously he's trying to avoid a painful position.
All right. So real quick, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier in the chat. I want to know, and a buddy of mine asked me earlier this week, and I thought it was a great question. When does the prodigal son, Andrew Painter, come up, and under what circumstance?
Oof.
Christopher, what do you think? Do we see Painter this year? When and why?
I'll say yes, we see him. When shot from the hip, let's just say by mid-season.
All right. Does anybody have any strong feelings about when he's going to get called up and under what circumstance?
Post All-Star break, like
Yep.
right after the break.
Because I think if
That's what I was thinking too.
you might move a pitcher around the All-Star break, maybe for a right-handed bat. If you do that, then you just boom, call up Painter, and you're.
So we're not waiting until the end of the season when it doesn't count against us, right? We're not waiting until September, the third week of September, right?
You got to get him playoff ready, man.
You're going to see videos on MLB's Instagram, like you saw of Paul Skeens last year, where they're just like, look at the new MLB phenom. Like they're gonna be videos in clutch situations where he's going out there shoving for 7, hitting 101, and just absolutely dicing guys up, where they post some nutty stat line where this is the first time this has happened since Leatherfoot Schmitty Magoo, I don't even know, has done it in 1904 on the Boston Blubber Whalers, and he goes out there and has 10 Ks and pitches 80 pitches through 7 innings, something like that.
I think there's a really good chance that Ranger stays hurt for far too long, right? That
really reaching out on a limb there.
That Taijuan Walker does awful. So that like 10 weeks into the season, Rob Thompson's got to be like, yo, get this kid up. I can't take every 5th day just watching Taijuan throw up meatballs every day. I don't think
games,
it takes till the All-Star break. I think it takes till like the second week of June tops.
You don't think when Stromer's back, they do like a bullpen game where Strom pitches the first 3 innings?
No, I think Strom's done starting. I think that those days are over. I think just with him kind of, I guess he didn't fall off so much, but him tailing off towards the end of last season, I think that's kind of out the door at this point. We've got too many people that can start a game that haven't been established relievers up until
this point. Mick Abel.
Don't mess with that.
Yeah, Mick Abel. I think that was the guy in all of our minds, right?
He's next up. Untouchable.
He's untouchable in trade talks.
Yeah. No, he's going to be a big part of this team.
Prime Ohtani could be available. We're not giving up Mick Abel. All right.
Hey, you don't know what he could be, okay? He could even grow up to be Ohtani, okay? You never know.
The year is 2038, and Mick Abel is still in Double-A. With a 6.2 ERA. So,
pitching in the MLB All-Stars Futures game.
Mick Abel's son is going to be in the Phillies farm system while he's still pitching for us. Not called up yet.
Put him on the wall. Put him on the Wall of Fame now.
I think the issue with Painter
do we even know where? So, Doc, you could probably talk about this because
he was in the midst of talking about it before you interrupted.
Oh, sorry. I'm on delay, guys. I'm always on delay for some reason down here in Florida. I'm on delay. Doc, speak on it. The Tommy John with Painter and
I think the question is you got to find the sweet spot between bringing him up too soon, because it is a long season, and if you're anticipating being in the playoffs, you don't want to wear out his arm. So, in my opinion, I think the All-Star break would be ideal to get him ramped up and not overuse his arm. I think he's going to be on a pitch count when he comes up, I think. And I think it's going to be something where if he throws too many games beforehand, he could run out of gas before the playoffs. So I think they have to be very judicious and try to work around it and schedule him for after the All-Star break return. I think if we see him early, that'll be good. The fans will be excited, but I don't think it's going to be. I would worry about him pitching in September and October.
No setbacks this year. Next year, full go, no issues having him go out there.
I think it's important.
250 innings.
I think it's important for him to get up here at some point, but I think it's important to also just kind of make sure that you don't overuse him out of the chute.
So, Doc,
next year, I would expect him being in the rotation, full rotation.
That was my question then, because I know as a bullpen guy, like I was going to ask if Painter should be in the bullpen or the rotation. As a bullpen guy, I know sometimes you're going balls to the wall on every pitch because you're only pitching to 3 batters, right? You're only pitching to 3 batters. Sometimes, if 2 lefties are up and you're left-hander, so you're like, I'm giving this everything I got. Whereas if you're a starter and maybe the bullpen got depleted the day before, maybe you need to not go full bore on every pitch because I may need to go 6 or 7 tonight, boys, because the bullpen's rested. So with that being said, do you think it's more beneficial to him? And I'm talking strictly health for his arm.
Yeah.
To start in the bullpen or start in the rotation and be on like a innings limit as a starter?
I personally think the way that we do it protocol wise is we do like pitch counts. We kind of going in. I think it's better if you think he's going to be a starter, you should put him up here as a starter. So he gets used to that approach. It's a different mentality. Like you said, it's a different use of your arm. And I think the relievers throwing gas all the time. And I think for someone just coming off an injury like this, that is not where I'd want him to be. I think he's got to get used to the marathon nature of being a starter. And I think if he starts there, even if his pitches are limited, maybe they only put him in for 4 innings or whatever. But I think that's where he has to come in, as a starter, getting used to that approach to his throwing. Because I think if you throw hard all the time, even though it's less throws, it's probably more damage to your arm.
That makes sense. I wonder if when Ranger gets healthy too, and you do call up Painter, if you could do piggyback games with like a Ranger Painter scenario where they each get like 3-4 innings, and then you're in the 8th inning, next thing you know, and then each guy only has those 3-4 innings to where they know they don't have to stretch it out.
Yeah, I think with any injury, when you come back to this level, there's no way to really prepare for this. You can't, even if you're pitching in the minors, those are lesser hitters, less stress, et cetera. He needs experience at this level. So if you have to piggyback him, I think that's a great idea to limit his pitch. But you got to get him up here and throwing against major league bats and consistently to get him up. But you don't want to, like I said, it's like the kids, to use one of your football analogies. It's like when these guys go from college to the pros, you go a bigger schedule and you get that rookie burnout. You don't want that with him, because that's when the injuries happen. So you want to start him, but you want to start him later. If you can, keep him till, I think, after the All-Star break is a good time to get him up here and get him accustomed to throwing at the major league level without overtaxing his arm. So to me, that would be the area, that would be where I would look to bring him back. And I know nothing about his recovery in terms of, I assume everything's full steam ahead. I haven't heard of any setbacks. So I think this is the time where you kind of bring him in for a little part of the season with the anticipation of next year and going forward, he's going to be one of your starting pitchers.
Excellent, guys. So we're going to end up wrapping this up shortly. Guys, want to go around, give me a final win prediction and just a yes, no. Do we win the division this year? Right? We got the Braves getting a hell of a lot healthier. We got the Mets getting better. Right? Give me wins. And do we win the division this year? Jake, I'll start with you.
90-72. No, we do not.
All right, Chris.
93 wins. Yes.
Doc.
89, no.
And Coach.
92, yes.
Stole my thunder, Coach. 92 division champions. All right, guys. Before we head home for the night, final thoughts for you. Who's got a final thought? Chris, we'll start with you.
Always me first.
You're right in the middle, man. I'm sorry. We should have adjusted where this is.
Just keep looking right at me.
I'm locking eyes with you the whole time.
The whole time. No, now you're in the middle. Go Phils, man. I'm ready for baseball. I'm ready for sports. Obviously coming off the Super Bowl win, just jacked up, but I got no Flyers really to watch. I'm kind of out on March Madness. I just kind of grown out of it, and the Sixers suck. So I'm just excited for baseball, man. So looking forward to it.
All right, Doc, what do you got?
Yeah, Chris kind of stole my thunder. I'm like, I am done with the winter sports. Bring on the spring. Bring on the Phils. All
right, Coach, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Final
Yeah.
thoughts, sir.
Some people like to read. Some people like to watch art. Some people like to unwind other ways. Tomorrow you'll see art. I'm watching Zach Wheeler pitch 7 strong innings in a shutout and a Phillies win. The artist will be painting corners.
Beautiful.
Love it.
Jake, final thought.
Final thought, you saw a team hitting bases on balls numbers in this spring training like you have never seen before, and you will not continue to see it. They will fall back into their old ways and still be a very good ball club, but don't buy into this record-setting walk rate that we saw in spring training.
Boy.
Oh,
Go Phils, ring the bell. 90-72.
Final thought. Vanilla, soft serve, rainbow sprinkles in a helmet. Go Phillies.